I think that was sort of accidental. There wasn't any big scheme behind trying to create a quartet of films that related to one another. I guess, you know, I was a member of the jury panel, the judge panel, whatever, so there were a lot of voices, and from my point of view, I wanted to have a certain amount of diversity, to have, you know, like Khalil's piece is very lyrical and poetic, and other pieces are more comedic, and so I wanted there to be some diversity, so I cared about that. But I think the way they flow together is totally accidental. It's more of an intuitive thing. I worked with a group of people, and there are many, you know, here I am representing our company, but there's a lot of people behind this, and obviously just the teams that were involved. I guess, you know, the tone of the pieces had a certain attitude, and so there were directors that came to mind, and we had sort of a round table discussing things and pass things around. So it was more intuitive rather than a big master plan. Well, you know, for one, I was appreciative that those companies valued talent and emerging talent in particular. You know, it was a bit of a challenge. You know, it's helpful in a competition of certain limitations, and the limitations here was how to have an interesting story that included those two components, the hotel and the computer. So we tried to, you know, we were biased towards things that wove it in a clever way or interesting way. But you know, the most important thing is to make engaging stories that people relate to, and so hopefully the setting and the use of the Ultrabook is, you know, supports it and is not distracting.
No, I mean, I think, you know, the sort of main idea was to illustrate the way in which, you know, a young couple, for instance, might connect. I mean, this is sort of, you know, in 2012 at least, we sort of, you know, our version of love letters might be through text, it might be through email, it might be through Facebook messages, and I really fell in love with this piece and was lucky enough to snag it, and I think, you know, it was something I wanted to do really badly, just because it's something sort of that I find fascinating, just how people connect and how it's changing so fast, how we connect, and I think, you know, there's hopefully some of the subtext, if I may, is about, you know, are we becoming more fearful of actually meeting people in person, you know, or is our technology changing the way in which people can interface, you know, actually in person? So you know, that was fascinating to me, and of course the way in which the Ultrabooks were sort of integrated into that felt very germane to the story, and never felt shoehorned in, which I really liked, and hopefully it did for the audience too. Amy, the writer, had written this really sweet love story, and that you don't get to see a lot. You know, I think audiences today tend to be fairly cynical, and this is like just a really sweet, honest, sincere love story, which I responded to just, I think, as a romantic, and I think really when I got it, all I tried to do was sort of, you know, tool it to Doha a little bit more, and I also wanted to make sure it had, for lack of a better description, a little bit of, you know, an edge. I hate that word, but I think with Robert's character, with Oscar, we wanted to give him sort of that sort of brooding, self-loathing thing that I think we've all seen a lot before. That, I mean, I'm sure for the PTA fans out there, they saw some Punch Drunk Love and you know, a lot of things that I shamelessly ripped off. I ripped off a bit of CQ, if anybody noticed, with the credits, which as a movie I absolutely worship. So anyway, it was now I'm totally off track. I'm so sorry, but yeah, I think yeah, it was such a smorgasbord of different movies in there.
Well, Lee did a great job of keeping everything together and helping fill in the blanks, and you know, it was very last minute joining the team and going to Doha, and we had 2 days to shoot, a few days to assemble everything too, so that was even more incredible. But yeah, I mean, we met right away and we just started shooting these individual romance with the computer, And but Lee did a great job of helping us through what he's going to do when he puts it all together.
At the time when I was kind of obviously acting out this relationship on screen, I'm actually in Doha in Qatar, and I am actually on Skype as well on my iPhone, like to my family, like da da da, and then I get off, and so I think we're constantly in relationship with each other through technology. I mean, I know that if I didn't have Skype, I would just be like lost. Do you know what I mean? And I know that sounds awful, but it's true because when you travel, so I guess like we're kind of living it just day in, day out as well, so it kind of helped with that, I think, because we're in a time where, do you know what I mean, like technology is just, you need it. Well, you don't need it, but you know. No, he just made it look good.
Oh, okay.
No, go on.
Yeah, well, I think incorporating the incorporating all the brands into this was really, I think it was, the story worked really well with having the brands involved, and I think the trick, I guess, with having, being able to have a voice creatively, I'm speaking sort of to the filmmaker, but I'm not going to speak for you. I'm just speaking for all of us. But I think that's, the idea is to be able to do something you want to do creatively and also incorporate brands, and I thought, the story was really good for that, and I think, and also, I think Lee had a vision for, how he wanted to, do all this. You want to say something?
I just want to add, this seems a little strange, but it's so rare, as I think everybody in this room knows, to be able to go out and shoot something with a budget that makes it possible, and actually have total and complete freedom as an artist. I mean, I think we all know, but it's worth repeating that in this market, I mean, Roman can certainly speak to this, but it's so rare, and we were really given carte blanche to, and so I want to thank the people at W and Intel and the Directors Bureau and Vice, because it's really rare that happens, and that's what happened for us. We were able to just kind of tell this sweet little love story without having to, oh, you gotta have this insert, and you gotta have this gimmick, and she's gotta do the smile and the turn when she holds up the, it's like there was none of that.
I met Roman 2 years ago. We shot a commercial together, and then he brought me on for his new feature film coming out February 8th.
Sorry, I missed that. When is it?
February 8th. Yeah, and that was a lot of fun. So then I got a call from my agent, and she was like, "Are you interested?" And I'm like, "Sure," but I had no idea I was going to be a Russian vampire. But it was awesome. It was amazing.
It's a hugely special day to be not only sat here with the calibre of filmmakers, but also to see something that I've written appear in the kind of the company of five. At the time it was amazing, really. I felt the same way watching it being filmed. There was nothing like being in a room where everyone is pouring all of their time, all of their heart and soul into putting something that you've thought up one day in your room up on the screen, and doing such a good job of it. And it's fun because when you're the writer, you have nothing to do on a film set. I was just sat in the corner trying to make sure I didn't get in anyone's way. But yeah, it was fantastic. I got sent an email about in late September. It was to be told that I was part of the final 12, which was a huge deal. They told me not to tell anybody, so I immediately told every single person.
Which, due to the wonderful nature of the internet, you can now do almost immediately, which is fabulous.
Thank you, Twitter. But
I
yeah,
think you meant thank you, Intel, but carry on.
Thank you, Intel. You make a wonderful ultrabook. But yeah, it was, and then that kind of sank in. That I thought really was as far as it was going to go, because the piece was quite weird and quite hokey and sentimental and stuff. And then I found out, like 2 weeks later, that I had won. I swore very loudly and told my roommate, and they told me again not to tell anybody. So naturally, of course, I did the rounds on Twitter and Facebook, telling absolutely everybody. And yeah, it was incredible. It happened so quickly as well. That was the amazing thing. Like, it went from you might have won to you've won to it's filming in 2 weeks and now it's over. So it was an amazing, quick journey.
Show me.
My head!